beasts, aren't they? Chuffed to bits. The smallest little thornback. I'm just concentrating on not leaving the rod over the side. And its eyes, it's got amazing eyes. Doggy in the boat. Golden mullet. There's a bit of weight to that, you know. And that's what we want, don't we? We don't want the same all the time. We want something different, a good old show. Hello and welcome to the channel. And today, where are we at? Got to shelter up. It's August bank holiday and we're on the big beach. So, as normal, the rundown, the rods. We've got the Any Fish Anywhere 6-inch baits, 14-foot multipliers, Pen Fathom 2 casting specials, £20 mainline, 18 to 70 pound shock leader. That's Asso Ultra Cast and Asso Ultra Flex. I'm running 5-foot pulley rigs, the pulley rig that was made on the channel, and the link will be somewhere above me now. And what are we up to? Well, we've got Kent Black Lug. I always get the location wrong, but it's definitely Kent Black Lug. Tipping with squid. I've got some frozen mackerel. And now I've got some fresh bait because I've just caught myself a cuttlefish. Cracking bait, that one. So I'm going to give him a bit of a dispatch. But yeah, a tiny little critter. Look at that. And as always, ooh, all his tentaculars. Not his testiculars, his tentaculars. With his shooty outies and his eyes and stuff. Anyway, we're going to kindly send him off to the next place. He's going out as cod bait. There's already been codling caught. So we are literally, there is no one. This part of the beach, nobody comes here. The reason why they don't come here is because it's inaccessible. You need a boat, or you need a helicopter or a quad bike or something along those lines. So we're not anywhere near a car park. So we're not at the Bay End, we're not at Abbotsbury, we're not at West Bexington. The encampment, if that means anything to anyone, that's where we're at, and it's not easy to get here. But now that we're here, and there's 4 of us, there's no one else here. We've got the beach to ourselves. As far as the eye can see, there is no one. And if the wind does drop, because believe me, it's up to about 20 miles an hour at the moment, I will get the drone up if the weather allows. We can have a good look around the area, see if we can get some arty shots. Yeah, and apart from that, we're fishing. So, got loads of wraps of black lug, squid and mackerel. 2 positions further down, he was catching codling for fun an hour ago. He had 3 on a 3-hook flapper, and then on his other rod they went, so it must have been a shoal. He had 2 on a 2-hook flapper. So 5 for 2 rigs, 2 casts, which is good going. All around the 2 to 3 pound mark. So codling, not cod. I'm going to check that out and see what's going on. Because they're so far out and I've had to put a bowered line, bite registration's not that good. But it looked like something's going on there. So I'll reposition the camera, let's have a look, eh? Well, there's a nice surprise. So I was reeling in and dealing with one rod, and by the time I'd got back to this one, I was slacklining on the beach. And I mean, it was literally laid across the beach. I was reeling in for an absolute eon before that even made any kind of contact with the fish. What an absolute stunner. That is beautiful. Golden green, that really pronounced lateral line. Same follows the same sort of curvature as like a pollock does. The eyes, amazing eyes. Gonna try and unhook this one cleanly because I can see where he's hooked. He could be a keeper. Some people might keep him. But I'm gonna see if I can get him back. Look at that. What a paddle. That's slack line, and that went against the tide the wrong direction. Absolutely stunning. Not doing the long arm thing, I just want to see if you can actually see all of that. He's not big. 2.5 pound, 3 pound maybe at the most. Look at the mouth on it. No wonder you can put big baits out. Oh no, he's hooked in the gill. I don't think you're going to make it, bud. This one's hooked in the gill. That's going to bleed. And I've got cod poop down my hand. They have a habit of doing that. I don't know why cod always poop down your hand, but they do. Right, I've got no rods in the water, and I've just caught myself a cod. What a stunner. Right, rigs are working, everything's working. Let's get fishing. Summer coddling. What a result. I need to sort out all this rubbish and get it back out there. So I've managed to get one rod back out. I'm trying to fish 3 rigs and I can't keep one rod in the water. It's gone crazy. The 4 of us are just catching codling at the moment. They're out there and they're feeding. What have we got here? So it is a 5-foot pulley rig. From pulley bead to grip weight, 5 foot long. And instead of using beads to protect the knot or to cushion, I'm using little pieces of rig tubing. It just means that it's got a bit of a cushion to it. More cushion for the pushing. A clip. Now I know we could go swivel there, then rig clip, and that would remove a snagging hazard. I understand that. But I've just unhooked that codling, that last one, by pulling that little tiny swivel through his gills. I hooked the hook with my disgorger, just fed the whole lot through, and he's gone back. Couldn't film it because trying to get down that sheep shingle and getting a codling back, you're dicing with your safety there, I think. But he did swim off. The thing that's getting me is we've got to look as carefully for a slackline bite as a full-on bite. Now, a full-on bite, you get that, oh yeah, it's caught my eye and it's going. But the slackline bite can just be a very subtle drop back with the rod tip. And if you're not constantly watching it all the time, you can miss it. That last one had me go 90 degrees slack line, swam up the beach, up along against the current. So I'm just cleaning this one up. I'm using a 4-row no, I'm not using a Camasan, am I, Matt? I'm using a Varivas Big Mouth Extra, size 4-row as the bottom hook, and as the pennel, the Varivas 4-row Big Mouth pennel. And it's got the little kink to it, look, so it sits nice. So when you take your turns around the hook, everything sits nice. So how are we going to bait up? Well, we've got a Kent black lug digger collector with us today, and he said to put them on tail first. So first things first, slap them on the ground to stiffen them up, take off excess tail, and then tail first. Controversial, I know. Anyone wants to comment in the comment section. Head or tail first. I'm always willing to learn. But I'll take the advice of a proven match fisherman that says go tail first. Love to hear what everyone else says. And that is the size of the bait we're going for. That is it. That is one black lug. That's what these fish are taking. If you put too much on, they seem to ignore it. They're not interested in huge baits, albeit cod usually are interested in huge baits. Now you've already seen me catch the cuttlefish, the baby cuttlefish. He's been dispatched kindly, and I'm just going to cut myself a sliver, being careful not to puncture anything that's got ink in it. Don't want ink everywhere. Right, back in the bucket. So I've got myself a slither of cuttlefish, because if cuttle are out there and the cod are out there feeding, gorging, chances are they're feeding on the cuttle. Okay, so that is where I'm at, and I know some people don't like it, so anyone that doesn't like elastic, look away now, go and watch Neighbours or something. I'm just going to put a little bit of elastic just to secure that end tippet, and I'm running it across my thumb to act as a guide. And all I've done is I've actually elastic the end of the worm to that white tippet. And then the last thing to do is to set our pennel hook for our bait. So that's where we're at now. Take 3 turns, in through the end. Nice, fresh, really good bait this. These blacks are spot on. And that, believe it or not, is what they're taking. And it works, because we're catching. We're not just fishing, we're catching. Okay, so we will clip that into here, into the solo splashdown, lock it in. That sun is screaming hot, and that is how it's going to cast out. That piece there clips onto my shock leader, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to fire this bad boy out, see if I can get myself another one. Right, let's move the camera. Watch Mark's rubbish casting. Please excuse the wind noise at the moment. I can't shield it from all of the wind. Just going to clip on to my shock leader, set my height. I know you've probably heard me say this before, but I've got set points. Some people go by the bottom eye, I go by my sticker transfer. I set my mags every time, because sometimes you knock your mags. Daytime slinging, so I'm going for 4. Prove everything's free to run. Prove you've disengaged your spool. I've got a bite on the other rod, and I've got a slackline bite. There's a fish on that. I need to get this out now. There's a fish on the other rod. Let's get this out. Oh, gone the wrong way. She's crushed. Sorry, bud. Devastated. I've just had a crack off. And if I'm completely honest, genuinely completely honest, that's the first one I've had in quite a while, to be honest. And I'm not even 100% sure what happened. So my reels were set, as I always do, go through my routine. And as soon as it went out, I think I got a wrap round part of the reel. The reel didn't overspeed, didn't backlash or overrun. It was too early in the cast, but it means I lost my shock leader. So I've just put another tapered shock leader on, and I thought while I'm doing that, because the coddling, all the 4 of us, it seems to have quietened off. They seem to come in waves with the run of the tide, but one of the guys has just caught a place. So I thought, this is the thinking: 5 foot rig body, 2 hook flapper. So I'm not going for distance. 40-50 yards out, just behind the backwash, the undertow. Plain lead, so it can seek its way out, and the tide is running left to right at the moment. So, and the rods are 45 degrees to the beach. So I'm just going to flop it out, set it in there, let it run wherever it wants to run. The bottom hook, I'm going to bait with a black lug, tiny little size 4 hook. So I'm going to put a black lug on that one. But what I'm thinking on the top one is either some squid tentacle or, God, that's a lot of lug, isn't it? That's a big lug. We don't want that much lug one. We don't want all that. So, skizzers, we will go, cut that in half, get 2 baits out of it. Not to be frugal, just because the hook's not big enough for it. So just get that all the way on. And when I've got baits like this, and it's going to sit with just a small one like that, I like to feel for where the top of the hook is and just give it a little wrap there. And then to stop it blowing up the line, there is a stopper and a sequin. So by wrapping it just above the eye, like that, wrapping it just above the eye, it stops it from all glooping down and covering the hook point. See that really nice clear hook point? And the sequin and the stopper at the top stop it blowing up the line. So that's the bottom hook that is going to fish He says, getting himself all in a tangle, trying to show. Trying to get, let's sort myself out before I go any further, otherwise I'm going to get myself in a right pickle. Right, get that sorted, put that away. Right, there we go. Round 2. So, we have got the weight. With the bait, fishing lower than the weight, albeit swinging free. So that's the lugworm. And then, let's put that other piece of lugworm to one side. Don't want to waste any bait, it's going to be a long night tonight. Going to fish right through the night, through to dawn. And then the top hook, I'm thinking just for ease this time, I'm going to put that cuttlefish on, because I don't want to waste it and it's fresh. I'm just going to cut myself a sliver of cuttle. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Seagulls circling overhead. You ain't having my cuttlefish, mate. It's a lovely, quiet Sunday afternoon. I can't think of anything better to be doing. Right, so I am going to feed that on almost as if it was a worm. See if I can get, because it's tough old stuff. And the idea behind this is the bream won't be able to just strip it off. But what it will actually do is it will look like a bait fish when it's in the water. And I think, to be honest, that's what they're all after. So I've put that on the hook like that. Put the hook all the way through the centre. They ain't plucking that off. They'll probably end up, even if they're small, they'll foul hook themselves. And the sequin and the stopper just stop it from blowing up the line once it's wet and gone a bit baggy. You don't want your bait to be baggy. Said the actress to the bishop. Right. Nobody likes a baggy bait. We'll clip that on. Don't have to clip this rig down because it's just going out as it is. And I'm just going to flop it out. It's going to be a flopper. So I'm going to get this out. And let's see what this one catches. Because we've got lugworm on the bottom, squid on the top. My money is black bream on the top. We'll see how it goes. What would you do differently? What would you give us a go? I've got mackerel to try next. I will try mackerel at some point, but I'm thinking mackerel baits, nighttime, low water, conger eels. At the moment, I've got the left rod fishing at distance. That's the one that we've been catching the coddling on. Still using a 6 ounce grip weight. Tide's starting to pick up now. We're on the flood. We've gone through slack low. And the fish have switched off, and it's amazing the difference in the tide, what effect that has on the fishing. And then there's sort of a shot to nothing, just try something else. The right hand rod has got a 2-hook flapper, non-grip lead, and that's fishing really close in, 30-40 yards, 30 yards maybe. And it was literally just flopped out. It's just running just past the undertow, so the rod tip's not bouncing because it's not getting swirled around. It's just past that, I think, but it's got a plain lead so it can seek if it wants, but it seems quite happy where it is. Look at that for a little stunner. He's stunning. Gonna get him back in. It's gone really quiet. So the tide's running left to right. We want it to run right to left because the guys that fished last night, that's when everything livened up. So we've got a couple more hours until sunset and then fishing into the night. Into darkness. At darkness falls, everything will lighten up. But yeah, I'm going to get this one back in, and hopefully it's all going to liven up. Dean's behind me mucking about. A naked fisherman on the beach. Right, let's get this back in. Throwing caution to the wind a little bit. Both of those fish that I just had came at distance, so I've gone 5 clicks out, whereas I'd normally only go 3 or 4, and that's gone a long ways out. And it's easy to tell if you're ever thinking to yourself, you know, did I go further that time? Did I not? Count your wines. So I'm just going to be pumping and lifting, just rise and fall those sabikis in the water column. I mean, both times that I've had those, they've come at distance, so I'm expecting if they're going to go right at the start. Nothing yet. Some anglers take the mick out of people that like mackerel fishing. I love it. It's just like any other fishing. There's still the thrill of the catch. Doesn't matter what you catch really, does it? Admittedly, it's a bit of overkill, isn't it? I've got a big old heavy beach rod here. Just let that fall back down. And if you're not catching, just vary the speeds, vary the retrieve. I'm doing a lifting pendulum sort of. Oh, I think I just got knocked there. Just let that settle for a second. I did feel a bump then. I haven't hooked up with anything now. Yeah, I'm onto shock leader now. Just coming onto shock leader. So, it's not a fish, a chuck at the moment. Let's get this back out there. Have another go. It's not that easy, is it? It's just not like one every throw. Especially from the beach anyway. It's a little bit different from the boat. You can actually see them on the sounder. That makes it a lot easier. That went a long ways. I can tell because you can tell whether you're onto line that hasn't been off the spool yet. It tends, if it's been sat there for a while, to go a little bit crinkly. Let's show you what I did get. So there is a subtle difference between what I have caught. That's your stereotypical mackerel. And these are amazing bull huss bait. Ooh. Ooh. And he's very sharp. He's just jagged me. And a scad. Back again. So I've had a bit of a fluff chuck and I've caught one mackerel, one scad. Hardly anything to write home about. I'm just going to disconnect this snood so you can see. So the rigs that are out now are both 5-foot pulley rigs loaded up with a whole Kent black lug. I had to stop and think about that because I keep saying it wrong. Essex, Kent, Wales, Kent black lug. And Mark, who dug them or you know, like pumped them, he's fishing a bit further on. There's a group of 4 of us here at the moment. So he's a very experienced match angler. And at one point earlier on, when they had the last run, we're waiting for the next run now. We're prepped, ready for it. The state of the tide and the time of day and all that kind of stuff. So I went over and had a sneaky little look. You can always learn from someone else. So I had a sneaky little look and he had 3 cod on a 3-hook clip down and 2 cod on a 2-hook flapper. I'm like, well, I'm fishing a 2-hook flapper, what's different? I had a little shifty over his shoulder. Giving away all the secrets now. So this is my snoot. And all I've got on there is I think it's a size 4 hook and about 1.25 inches of that black lug. You see it? Tipped off with a tiny little square of that cuttlefish that I caught earlier on. And then at the top there's a sequin to stop the worm blowing up, and to stop the sequin going up, a little stopper. So I've got 2 of those to go on a 2-hook flapper that I'm going to put out as my little secret try. Shh, don't tell anyone. I didn't have time to reach for the camera for that one. He's small, but perfectly formed. Didn't see the bite. Didn't see the bite. Hardly any fight. He came in with less action than I had from that mackerel or that scad. He was docile. But they've started. We're into them already. Woo. Yeah, these are literally, these summer ones, they're lean, but look at the colours on that. They are amazing. And fin perfect. They're in such good condition. Could be a brown trout. It does actually look like a brown trout, doesn't it? Certain ways when you catch the light on them. except that eye. That's a full-on sea-going predator eye, that one. I see you. So everything's just gone crazy. Got to try and make some sense of this. I think I understand what's happened here. 2 hook flapper, pouting on the top hook, pouting on the bottom hook, chased and nobbled by a strap. And he's gone crazy. But yeah, he's absolutely smashed that lower pouting. Let's see if this one will come off. And of course, typical strap fashion, they've made a right... I'm gonna have to get this tangle sorted out. They've made a right mess of everything. But that little one there that's got bite marks all over him, he's had a right old go at him. Yeah, right. So a pouting's taken the lower hook, and then the straps tried to take that and he's got himself foul hooked by the looks of it. So I need to sort this out. This little critter's appeared. He went crackers. Yeah, I switched the camera off, turned round, and I didn't get back to the camera because the rod was hooped over, and it was a pretty good bite considering it was only this little fella. And he took that double black lug as well. Double black lug meant for a codling, and he's a little black bream. And I missed that off the species, didn't I? And black bream. I don't know how many black bream we've had now. We've had a couple of few. Yeah, stunner. I thought you were something else, mate, the way you went. Right, I'm going to get him back in. Good morning, my handsomes. We're still on Chesil Beach. We're toughing it out for a full 24-hour session. And what am I up to now? Apart from having a croaky voice, I need some water. I've got one rod in the water and I'm fishing. The reason why I've got one is because I'm prepping something different. So I am now about to 5-foot pulley rig and the little tiny cuttlefish that you see me catch yesterday. I've sausaged that bad boy up. So, as a shot to nothing, because I don't know if you can hear in the background, but it's quite a rolling surf beach type morning this morning, which screams to me bass. That looks like a bass bait. It's a big bait. It's going to have to be a big bass. But, yeah, he who dares wins. So this is all about making sure that the hook point doesn't get buried in amongst all of this bait. If I'm pulling faces, making noises, I apologise. This isn't going to cast out that nice either. It's not going to distance cast it. And to be honest, I don't really want it to. I want it just beyond the surf, just behind that. What's the word I'm looking for? Undertow, is it? Undertow, where it's the backwash, where the fish will be cruising this morning, looking for an easy meal. This looks like an easy meal. It won't be. See if we can, as a shot to nothing, why not? Let's get it out there. If you don't try these things, if someone else will argue you could put a little finger-sized bait out there and it'd do exactly the same job. But not up here, it won't. Up here I think, oh, bigger is better. And it's not. But it is. It so is. Right, now this is going to cast like an absolute donkey. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's bigger than the weight. And it's not very aerodynamic. It's going to flop out there. That's going out. If it looks comical, it's because it is. If I look silly because I've got my hood up, it's because it's cold this morning. I haven't got a jacket, I haven't got my jacket, I've only got my hoodie. And we're still on head torches because we're not quite sunrise yet. Right, let's get this out. So I've got one cod bait out, which is black lug, tipped with cuttlefish, a bit of my mate there. And then the cuttlefish is going out, possibly for a bass. If a bass takes that, it's going to be aggressive. Right, let's jibber jabber in, more fishing. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this left rod at the moment. This is the one with a cod bait on it, but it's proper arched over, but with no bites showing. So I don't know if I've picked up some weed or something. I can't feel any head bumps or anything. But there is some weight to it. Might be some weed. Sorry about the wind, it is quite windy this morning. Oh, yeah, I must have picked up some weed or something. A morning strap. A strapeel for my troubles. Right, let's just put that there, get myself a disgorger. I'll have a quick look, eh? Didn't get as many of these last night as I thought we'd get. A strap. He's gonna spin and do his thing. Right, let's get him unhooked, get him back. Well, it's come to that time of day, no further action. It's time to pack up and shift and move on. Has it been successful? I think so. It's a really good mixed species session, right through the night. And where are we now? So this is video 3 of 3. We've caught cod on each of the 3 sessions, and quite a mixed bag this one, really. Really good mixed bag. Lots of different bits and pieces. The cuttlefish was interesting. Scad, mackerel, bream, codling, straps. Yeah, it's been good. I've really enjoyed it. So all that leaves for me to say is take care, tight lines, happy fishing. From me, from here, for now, it's goodbye. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.